Hello guys, I hope you are good. In this video we will talk about the Cushing syndrome. This is a very important topic. So what is the topic of the day? It's Cushing syndrome. Cushing syndrome. So Cushing syndrome, if I just go on to define the condition, it's a syndrome, and you know syndrome is the constellation or a combination of the sign and symptoms which belong to different body organs. It's a syndrome which arises in our body because of the higher concentration of the cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone in our body which is produced by the adrenal gland which are located on top of both the kidneys. So let's start our story from the anatomy of the organs from where this cortisol or steroid hormone is produced. Because the Cushing syndrome which we are talking about is the one which arises as a result of higher concentration of the cortisol in our body. So there are certain body parts which are involved in this whole phenomena. Let me draw here a diagram. If I make these two kidneys, these are two bean-shaped kidneys, and these two kidneys, they have got a small organ on top of them. This is known as, these two are known as the adrenal glands. Let me write down the names of these. This is adrenal gland. This is the right one and this is the left one. These are kidneys. So these adrenal glands, they can be divided into two parts. If say this is the cross section of the adrenal gland, then outermost is the capsule. If let's say this is capsule which is covering the organ, and the innermost part is the medulla of the adrenal gland which produces catecholamines, but this is not our topic today. So in the deepest part of the adrenal glands or the medulla, between the capsule, between this capsule which is the outermost and medulla, the part of the adrenal gland is known as adrenal cortex, and we subdivide it into three parts. Let's say this is the outermost, this one, then comes the innermost, say this one. These three are part of adrenal cortex, and this whiter one is the middle of it, middle portion of the adrenal cortex. The outermost is known as zona glomerulosa. Zona glomerulosa. The middle one is known as zona fasciculata. And the innermost, this is the middle part, which we call the fasciculata, zona fasciculata, and this innermost is known as the zona reticularis. Zona reticularis. And all of these three, they are part of the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex. So adrenal gland which are located right on top of both the kidneys, they can be subdivided into innermost part which is the adrenal medulla, and it is involved in the synthesis of the epinephrine and adrenalines and catecholamines, but this is not our topic. The outer part which is covered by the capsule is the adrenal cortex, which can be subdivided into zona glomerulosa, which is the outermost. The middle one is the zona fasciculata, and the innermost is the zona reticularis. Now this zona fasciculata is the place in the adrenal medulla's cortical part where cortisol is produced, because our syndrome, which we are calling the Cushing syndrome, is because of the higher concentration in the body of cortisol, which is a steroid in our body. Because of this steroids higher concentration, we have a condition which we call the Cushing syndrome. So up till now we have seen from where comes the cortisol, but do the adrenal glands, they produce cortisol all by themselves, or they are controlled from some higher centers? These higher, what are those higher centers? Because at the moment we are talking about the anatomy of the system which is involved in the Cushing syndrome. Whenever someone gets steroids from outside, which we call the exogenous source, or somehow steroids are produced, or cortisol are produced in our own body, ultimately it ends up in higher concentration of the cortisol in our body, which we call the Cushing syndrome. So other body parts which are important in terms of Cushing syndrome, let's go towards the brain. This is our brain. This is our brain. Now in our brain there is a part which we call the hypothalamus. This is located somewhere here, and underneath the hypothalamus is very important structure which we call the pituitary gland. This is pituitary gland, and it's located in the Scala turcica part of the bone. Now this hypothalamus, this is hypothalamus, and this hypothalamus, it produces a hormone which we call the corticotropic releasing hormone, CRH. This corticotropic releasing hormone is produced by the hypothalamus as a part of the circadian rhythm. Now it goes, this corticotropic releasing hormone from hypothalamus, it goes towards the pituitary gland, and this pituitary gland has two parts, anterior and posterior, and here we are concerned with the anterior portion. This CRH if acts on the anterior part of the pituitary gland, and here it causes the formation of adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. There is a precursor of it which we call the propionomyelanocortin. Propionomyelanocortin in anterior pituitary, which results in the synthesis of ACTH, endorphins, and melanocyte stimulating hormone. But here we are more concerned with the ACTH production, which happens under the effect of corticotropic releasing hormone coming from above, coming from the hypothalamus. Now this ACTH goes and acts on the adrenal gland, and it sorts of stimulates or compels the adrenal glands and its zona fasciculata portion to produce cortisol. So hypothalamus has its effect on the anterior pituitary, and anterior pituitary through ACTH has its effect on the adrenal gland. And because whatever is the reason, whether this is the exogenous source or somewhere from inside the body, whenever there is increased concentration of cortisol in our body, we will call it Cushing syndrome. Now, those patients who have higher cortisol in their body, but that higher cortisol is coming from some problem with the anterior pituitary, it may be tumor of the anterior pituitary, then that condition will be known as Cushing disease rather than Cushing syndrome. Cushing disease. So Cushing disease, what is Cushing disease? Increased cortisol, but because of increased ACTH coming from anterior pituitary, and which may be because of the tumor in the pituitary gland. That will be known as Cushing disease. But whatever is the reason, whenever in the body there is higher concentration of cortisol, we will call it Cushing syndrome. So now the Cushing syndrome can be because of the Cushing disease. It can be because of some tumor of the adrenal gland. There may be localized higher production of the cortisol in the adrenal gland because of adenoma, because of hyperplasia of both adrenal glands, bilateral adrenal hyperplasia, or it can be carcinoma. So either the carcinoma, adrenal adenoma, or hyperplasia can result in higher formation of the cortisol, or it can be tumor of the pituitary gland, and it can be some exogenous source, some ectopic, not exogenous, but some ectopic source of production of adrenocorticotropic hormone, not from the anterior pituitary, but it may be some from somewhere else. For example, it can be medullary thyroid carcinoma. Medullary thyroid tumor can be one reason. It can be carcinoid syndrome, and it can be small cell carcinoma of lungs. Small cell carcinoma of lungs. So all of these conditions, or any of these conditions, can result in higher production of ACTH, which will again have its effect on the adrenal gland, like the ACTH which came from the anterior pituitary had its effect on the adrenal gland. So this is how we reach this stage where we have higher concentration of cortisol in our body, and this is what we call the Cushing syndrome. So this is the definition of Cushing syndrome, and this is the anatomy of adrenal medulla, adrenal cortex, and these are the reasons why we have these Cushing syndrome. So now let's talk about the presentation, how these patients present to the hospital or to the doctor. Oh, lastly, let me add one more thing. Some people do take steroid from outside. Exogenous source of the steroid. Exogenous are coming from outside of body, source of steroid. For example, those who are suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, they may be put on steroid for a longer period of time. And sometimes those people who are doing bodybuilding, they are taking anabolic steroid, but they too will end up in higher concentration of the cortisol, which will be ending up with the condition which we are calling the Cushing syndrome, which is a constellation or a combination of many signs and symptoms in the body, which we will see just shortly. So I hope this makes some sense. Let's talk about the sign and symptoms or presentation of a patient who's suffering from the this thing which we call the Cushing syndrome. In this part, we will talk about the sign and symptom or clinical manifestation or presentation of a patient of Cushing syndrome. With what are those symptoms with which the patient comes, and what are those signs which we can check in the patient objectively. So these signs and symptoms, we can remember them with a mnemonic: Cushingoid, Cushingoids, Cushingoids. So what is C? C is cataract. Those patients who are suffering from Cushing syndrome, they develop cataract earlier than others. U is ulcer. These patients not only develop gastric ulcer, but they also develop some ulcers on the skin, and they do not heal properly. What is S? S is skin. These patients have thin, wrinkled skin, and they have stria or pink linear or pinkish line on their abdomen. What is H? These patients have hirsutism, or increased growth of hair on their body. And also these patients have high blood pressure or hypertension. What is I? These patients develop infections very easily. They are prone to all kind of infections because of the prolonged use of steroid, which make them vulnerable to infections. What is N? N stands for necrosis. These patients may have necrosis of head of the femur. Femur is a long bone in the limb. What is G? Whenever you check their urine, you do the microscopy, then you will find glucose there, glycosuria. What is O? O is obesity. These patients, they develop obesities. Not only their face is swollen, they are like the moon face, but they also have a buffalo hump. Buffalo hump because of the redistribution of fat in their body, and central obesity is also present. Also, they have osteoporosis. That is why their bones break very easily, because they are so weak. And what is I? I is immunosuppression. Everyone knows that steroids suppress the immune system of the body. So these patients are immunosuppressed, and that is why they develop infections very easily. What is D? Diabetes mellitus, diabetes. They patient have higher concentration of glucose in their body because of the steroids used. So Cushing goid, this is the mnemonic which we should remember whenever we are to talk about the physical manifestation or clinical feature in patients of the Cushing syndromes. So all those patients who have persistently high concentration of cortisol in their body, they'll be suffering from the all of these manifestation. Mentally they are always disturbed. They have psychotic spell. Anatomically, if you look at their skull, they may have an enlarged scala trachea if there is adenoma of the pituitary gland. And if you come down, these patients may have very brittle and soft and thin skin, which wrinkles very easily. These patients have ulcers on their body, and they may also be suffering from the gastric ulcer. Their blood pressure is high. They have increased growth of hair on those parts of the body which usually do not have hair. They may be obese. They may have a buffalo hump. Their face will be like moon, which we call the moon faces. They will have central obesity. On the abdomen, there will be abdominal stria, which is pinkish linear lines on their abdomen. Female are amenorrheic, and male will have thinning of the pubic hair, and they will be also having problem with their libido or sexual desires. There will be increased demineralization of the bone, and people will be suffering from the osteoporosis. On their feet, you will find ulcers, which will be very difficult to heal. So these are the clinical manifestation. Now let's talk about once a patient is coming to you and giving you some history of these clinical manifestation, how you are to diagnose this patient. Let's see how to diagnose this patient. Now let's talk about the diagnosis of the patients who is suffering from the Cushing syndrome. First of all, we will do this is diagnosis. We will do a very important test which we call the 24-hour urinary free cortisol, and along with that we will also do the cortisol level in the saliva, salivary cortisol level. And if these are increased, that means the person is suffering from the Cushing syndrome. So first test is 24-hour urinary free cortisol level, and salivary cortisol level. Second, we will also do dexamethasone suppression test. Dexamethasone suppression test. In dexamethasone suppression test, we give initially 1 milligram dexamethasone when the patient sleeps. I mean, it's given in the night time, and patient's cortisol is checked in the morning. If morning cortisol is decreased after giving dexamethasone, then patient is not suffering from the Cushing syndrome. Either patient is not suffering from the Cushing syndrome, or patient has got pituitary problem because of the ACTH. Then in that case, we will give 8 milligram rather than 1 milligram dexamethasone. Because initially we give 1 milligram, it can be this morning cortisol may be suppressed either because of this, or if it is not suppressed, then we can increase the dose to check if the cortisol is raised because of ACTH. But normally, dexamethasone should suppress the morning cortisol level if person is not suffering from the Cushing syndrome. But if the source of ACTH is not from the pituitary but is an ectopic source, then even in spite of giving a higher concentration of dexamethasone, there will be no suppression of the morning cortisol. So this is a very important test. After doing dexamethasone suppression test and urinary free cortisol, we may be certain that patient is suffering from the Cushing syndrome. If after these two tests, now we know that person is suffering from the Cushing syndrome and patient has got higher concentration of cortisol, then we are to check serum ACTH level. The next test which we will check will be serum ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, which comes from the either from the anterior pituitary or ectopic source. If serum ACTH is normal, but patient had higher concentration of urinary free cortisol and salivary cortisol level, then we are to look for adrenal cause of the higher cortisol. Either it may be adrenal source or it may be some exogenous source. For adrenal source, we will do ultrasound abdomen, CT scan abdomen or MRI to rule out the tumor of the adrenal gland. Or we are to probe the patient history once more to look for exogenous source, because ACTH came normal. So we are trying to now look for the adrenal or exogenous reason of the higher cortisol in the body. But if person's serum ACTH is high, if person's ACTH is high, then it may be because of either pituitary tumor, for which we will do MRI brain. And if we find a lesion which is more than 6 millimeter or more in size, then we are sure that the problem of the Cushing syndrome is with the pituitary gland, which may have a tumor there because there was high ACTH and there is also a lesion or a tumor which is more than 6 millimeter in size. But if ACTH is high and MRI brain excludes the presence of pituitary adenoma, then there may be an ectopic source of the ACTH, ectopic source. In that case, ectopic. In that case, we will do a very important test which we call the inferior petrosal sinus sampling. Sinus sampling. IPSS. Now, why we need to do the inferior petrosal sinus sampling? Because ACTH is high, but MRI hasn't shown any lesion with the pituitary tumor, so we are on the look for ectopic source. And what we do, that this inferior petrosal sinus vein, it is draining blood from the pituitary gland. And if there is a higher concentration of ACTH in this sample, but the concentration of peripheral blood ACTH is less as compared to this one, then it is definitely coming from the pituitary gland. But if inferior petrosal sinus sampling shows that the central to peripheral ACTH concentration is low, then the source is from the ectopic side. What are those ectopic ACTH reasons? It may be carcinoid tumor, it may be small cell small cell lung carcinoma, it may be some other tumor. Then you are to do specific test for those. For example, you can check the serotonin level for carcinoid tumor, and say you may do the CT scan of the chest for the small cell lung carcinoma. And if the ectopic cause of the higher ACTH, which is leading to higher concentration of cortisol in the body, is thyroid medullary carcinoma, then you are to do the tests of thyroid. For example, you can go for the ultrasound and other tests, which are nuclear tests. So once you have known the cause of the Cushing syndrome, then you will be able to manage it. If the source is exogenous, if source of the higher cortisol level in the body is exogenous, you will gradually reduce the steroid intake, but you will not ask the person to stop it abruptly, because it may cause some other problem. And if the reason is pituitary tumor, you will do the resection of the pituitary tumor. If the reason is adrenal gland tumor, you will do the resection of the adrenal gland. And if the ectopic source is the reason of the Cushing syndrome, then you will manage according to that. So this is a brief introduction, and this is a brief video on Cushing syndrome. I'll keep on making these videos, and if you like video, please press the like button. If you think this video can help someone else, share it. And if you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe it, and also invite your friends to subscribe this channel, because I'll keep on making videos like this in the future as well. Thank you so much for watching this channel, and thank you so much for watching this video.